Welcome back to the Charlie's Cavalry Coaches Show. I'm your host, John Moses. Well, the men's basketball season has hit a bit of a hot streak with 5 consecutive wins and 7-2 overall. To talk more about the men's basketball season, we're joined now by head men's basketball coach Ted O'Talley. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, as mentioned, a 5-game winning streak. What's really been the key to that success?
Yeah, I think we've had, overall we've had just a great team contribution. It hasn't been any one individual player, but again, it's been our defense and our rebounding that's really carried us through this streak, and really has been our biggest strength throughout the year so far.
Well, your most recent game against Southern Connecticut was played in a very hostile environment, a tough road test for your team. How do you feel like your group responded to that?
Yeah, I think they've done great all year on the road. We went to AIC earlier in the week and really jumped on them early, got out to a 34-13 lead. So we've been a good road team. We've been competitive in each and every game. And we've had runs in every game that have really kind of carried us through. And in this game in particular, from the 8-minute mark of the first half to the 18-minute mark, it was a 27-10 run that really kind of got us going and gave us a lead that we preserved throughout the rest of the game. Well,
the end of the game is an area I'd like to focus on here. Right. So let's take a look at the final sequence here. At the time, it's a very tight game at the time. So take us through it. We're going to check out the 2 highlights here.
Yeah, this was after a timeout, short clock, just trying to get some penetration. We got a good shot from Jeremy, and then really poor balance and transition. And you watch Justin Exum's effort just to change his shot, and then Ade Breck's effort to rebound really won the game for us. But not a good sequence for us on offense and defense, but just a great individual play by both Justin and Ade. And then up by 3 here at the end, they just forced him into a tough shot. They couldn't get to the paint. And obviously our length has been a factor all year for teams, and great pass by a young kid in Eric Anderson, just a great presence of mind to kick it out and put us up by 5, and then a great play by Eric to steal it. So great to see the excitement on the bench. We have had really good vibe with our program, just with everyone in the team, and obviously see the bench there. It's really fun to see.
Yeah, you talk about good presence that Eric really brings. And you saw a great example of that in those 2 clips there. I mean, getting the offensive rebound, getting the defensive rebound, and just seeing the floor. I mean, nobody's back for Southern Connecticut at that point, and he finds the outlet for Jeff. And then just to see them to try to get that quick pass again. I mean, just his basketball IQ was really off the charts in the early season.
Yeah, we didn't teach that. He just has that ability to see and pass. And fortunately, when you recruit guys, you sometimes get what you don't imagine you get. What we've had with him is just a really high IQ, great understanding of how to play. He's a great teammate, very unselfish, and he's really played much older than he is. That play being pretty typical of what he's done all year.
Right, and I thought transition defense would be a really big factor against Southern Connecticut. They're a team that likes to get out in transition, get easy layups, and that example right there of Justin Exum getting back in transition and just changing the layup attempt. Tell us a little bit about your transition defense. How do you feel like you've done with that in a couple weeks here?
Yeah, I think we've done great with it. It's been a huge focus of ours. Obviously, if you want to be a good defensive team, you have to take away easy baskets. The best way to do that is to take care of the basketball and not turn it over. We haven't had much success with that. But, the second part is to get guys to sprint back and be set, not to sprint back and just be there. So we've done a great job of sprinting back, making teams play 5-on-5, not 4-on-3 or 5-on-4. So we've made teams attack a set defense. In a situation like that, where there really was no one back, just the effort that Justin made and the effort that London made to get back and make plays. Sometimes if you're not doing it the right way, your effort can carry you through.
Well, before the game versus Southern, you said that the more poised team would be the winning team on Saturday, and I really thought that would shine through. I mean, it's a very emotional rivalry, that's shared on both sides. Yep. So what was your reaction when London Breck picked up a technical foul at the end of the first half?
Yeah, I don't know. We tried to divorce ourselves from the emotion of the game. We talked about that the day before and then even leading up to it. And, it's easier said than done sometimes. And, London does a great job. Part of the reason he's a good player is because he does play with emotion and energy. And I don't, it just carried over in that instance. But, he played a great game, held their leading scorer. Trevon Hammond was a heck of a player. He was a 60% from the field, 50 from 3, and 80 from the free throw line to 8 points. That's pretty hard to do. So, it's part of who he is as a player, which has really helped him. In that instance, it hurt him. But overall, I thought he played a great game.
Well, you held Southern's top 3 scorers to 24% shooting, just 30 points between the 3 of them. Right. While the numbers say you did well, I mean, how do you feel like you did against the Langston cousins in addition to Hamlet?
Yeah, I thought we did great, and they're a very, very talented group. We just tried to make them make tough shots. London is really, again, I'll say it again, he's probably one of, if not the best defenders in our league, and the reason for that is he can guard in the post and on the perimeter. So the challenge for him with Hamlet was not to just guard him one-on-one in the post, but he does float around the perimeter, and he's a very good shooter. And fortunately for us, London can do both. He can guard inside and out. And then just guys like Jeremy Williams, Eric Anderson, Samir McDaniel did a great job in the second half guarding Greg Langston. And they're very good shot makers, but I thought our guys did a very good job just making him shoot through hands and just not letting him get too deep in the paint.
Well, how did you feel about your team's offensive production against Southern Connecticut?
Yeah, it's something we struggled with all year. We scored more points, so I feel pretty good about it. But we've had chances to go on certain runs in games, but we do go through some dry spells. And the sign of a mature team is to go through those dry spells and still defend as hard as we do. But overall, I thought we did a pretty good job offensively. I'd like to see Justin Exum make a few more shots, which I know he's going to do here in the future. And I thought we could have finished a little bit more around the rim. But again, winning a rivalry game and an emotional game, sometimes plays aren't as easy as they normally are.
Well, let's take a look at some of the offensive highlights from this game.
Our length at the rim really does help, and it really has fueled our transition offense. London and Eric are both very high in the league in block shots, and then we're doing a great job on our defensive boards. But we're just trying to space the floor. We have unselfish guys, and we try and work on these all the time. But Eric's threes in the first half were really, really big for us. He's up to 41% from three. This is a backdoor we get behind the defense, another unselfish play by Jeremy Williams, and another three. But if you can get behind the defense and you have unselfish guys that can complete passes, we usually get open shots. And in those cases, Eric was the recipient and knocked him down.
Right, and I feel like in those two highlight clips, it doesn't even matter if the defense changes their defensive approach and starts to close out more on Eric, because at 6'8", he's gonna be able to shoot over just about every guy that's closing out on him.
Yeah, absolutely. His length does give him the opportunity to see over defenders and not really be bothered by a hand inside and out. So we're very fortunate that he's able to score inside and out, and we're very fortunate to have unselfish guys who can get him wide open looks too, like he did in those two possessions. Well,
in this next offensive highlight, we really see the length come into play here, whereas seems like everybody gets involved in the tip drill.
Yeah. We had 16 offensive rebounds in this game. And those really do matter. And I don't know if we converted on every offensive rebound at the rim, but just London's effort here. Justin Exum makes a great effort here. Sean Harris came up with 3 offensive rebounds in this game at 5'10". And just our speed and our pursuit of the ball. And we've worked on this a lot in practice, where we get offensive rebound and there's someone in between you and the basket. It's a great time to get a three-point shot. It's almost like an offensive set. And Harris, great balance, and just knocked it in.
I want to go back to your defense for just a minute. I really felt like we've seen some terrific defensive performances here in the early season. You're holding opponents to only 57 points per game.
Right.
What are some of the keys? What are some things that you really stress to your group every week?
Yeah, transition defense, number one. So, just to get back and make teams attack 5-on-5. We've had the luxury of having inside players being able to defend one-on-one in the post, and that's why our three-point percentage defense is so low, is that we don't have to really help as much in the post. But we just try and limit their drop-ins, make people shoot through hands, protect our paint, and then I just think the angles with which we play, whether they're closing out in the perimeter or guarding in the post, not letting them get to the middle where they can see a lot of different opportunities to make passes, has really been effective. And then at the end of the day, you may not be perfect with your scheme and perfect with your execution, but our effort to contest and our effort to block out has been really, really good so far in our first 9 games.
Yeah, and in this next highlight clip, we get a good view at a defensive play turning into easy offense the other way.
Right. Yeah, and again, we do have shot blockers at the rim, so we're very fortunate to have 2 very tall, athletic players that start for us. We bring another tall player in Cyrus James off the bench that's also a shot blocker. But you see when people drive, we just have rim protection. And it really does matter, it really does make a difference. And really, this has really spurred our defense. Great pass by Justin Exum and a great finish by Jeremy Williams. But that's probably been our best offense throughout the year, is just block shots, defensive rebounds, and turning those into points at the other end.
We've talked a little bit about Justin Exum and some of his struggles shooting from the field. Do you think that more has to do more with defenses keying on him a lot, or is there something else going on with Justin shooting the ball?
Justin definitely is probably at the top of their list of the scouting report. You know, he's had a great freshman year. Yeah, I think he's one of the best players in our league, especially at the offensive end. But the other thing about Justin, he's a two-way player. You know, he gives a ton of effort. You saw the clip at the end of the game where he just, you know, he's played 30-plus minutes and he sprints and makes a huge defensive play. But he's a two-way player, and he's going to be one of the top scorers in the league. The nice thing about him is he's really scored much better inside the arc this year. He's almost at 50% from two-point range, and he's actually done a great job of getting to the line where he's in the mid-80s for us as a free throw shooter. So he really does help us in a lot of ways, even when he doesn't make shots on the offensive end. But we expect him to, it'll even out by the end of the year, and he'll be a high percentage shooter.
Right, and in this next highlight clip, we really see, you know, how much he's improved in the two-point range. I mean, attacking the rim on this is just a really nice play here.
Yeah, you know, this was a call from our bench. You know, I thought our guards were a little bit more had a little more speed than theirs, and obviously we can put Justin in ISO situations. It's great, but you know, a year ago he may not have finished this, but a great finish by him and a really big bucket in the game. But he's been much better at scoring at the rim and from mid-range, and you know, obviously that's a tribute to his work ethic and him learning and taking what the defense gives him.
Well, Sean Harris seems to have really embraced his role as a scoring guard off the bench. I mean, how do you judge his performance early in the season?
Yeah, Sean's done a great job. He's really improved his shooting numbers as far as his percentages. He's done a much better job taking care of the ball. But he does give us a huge spark. You know, he's made a lot of big three-point shots for us. That one against Southern was huge. And we trust him. You know, I think that's the biggest thing when you bring guys off the bench in an environment like Southern Connecticut's. You know, you want to bring in guys that you trust, and obviously Sean is one of those guys for us, and he's done a really good job.
Well, in addition to his offensive numbers, we saw him really get after it on the glass against Southern Connecticut,
Yes.
pulling down 9 rebounds.
Yeah. Well, our bigs are really good at blocking out, and a lot of times when bigs are blocking out bigs, it does give our guards a chance to get in there and pick up the loose change. And Jeff Atkins and Sean Harris and Justin Exum, who's one of our best rebounders over the last 2 years, really benefit from our size just doing their jobs. And Sean was, you know, got 6 defensive rebounds in this game, which obviously were huge for us.
Well, your backup center, Cyrus James, has had some very effective stretches in the early season. How do you feel like he's adjusting to the college game?
Yeah, he's doing great. You know, defensively, he's just his length at the rim really helps. And he's a very good shot blocker, very good timing. He's still learning the intricacies of just how to guard in different angles. I think London has really helped him with that. And then on the offensive end, he's got a knack for getting offensive rebounds, and he really does have a knack for getting fouled. So, you know, he's going to get stronger as his career moves forward. But he's been great so far, and he's another guy we trust off the bench at a young age. He's really, you know, he's been a really guy that we can put in there and get good minutes from.
Right. And one of the most important things about Cyrus is how good he is at the free throw line. I mean,
right.
How much does that really help to have a guy that you can trust to shoot free throws at the end of the game?
Cyrus always tells us he never misses 2 in a row, and he's been right so far. But yeah, you know, he's gone to line a ton for the minutes he's played. And, you know, look at our first game of the year where he had huge free throws against Dowling. But, you know, when he does get fouled, it's usually 2 points for us, which is good.
Well, now that you're 7 games into the conference schedule, what have you observed about the other teams in the conference and how your squad stacks up?
Yeah, you know, the league is very balanced. We haven't seen the other side as much with film, but, you know, just the 8 teams, including us on our side, very, very balanced, very competitive. Each game goes down to the wire. It almost seems like it's a 4-minute game where the team that executes on both ends in the last 4 minutes of the game usually comes out on top. And we expect it to be like that the rest of the year. So it's definitely a challenging league. It's a well-coached league. I think the talent level is pretty even. So we're pleased with our start, but we know we have a long road ahead.
Has it surprised you that some of the preseason rankings have completely gone out the window at this point?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. And again, I haven't seen every team play. You know, we haven't seen a lot of film of future opponents. But, you know, it is surprising. But again, I'm not surprised by the balance and the strength of this league. It's typically been known for that. And, you know, I'm sure some of these teams who are at the bottom of the league right now will have a chance to reverse their fortunes coming up in the second semester, which, you know, I'm sure will happen.
We have a non-conference game tomorrow night against Nyack. What do you expect that game to be like?
Yeah, I expect it to be very similar to all the other ones. You know, hopefully we can go in and do what we do well, which is defend and rebound, not give them anything easy. I'm hoping that really our focus is just do what we do and just do it a little bit better each and every day. And this will be another great test for us tomorrow night.
Well, after Tuesday's game, we get right into finals here at UNH, and that runs into a dead period for the Christmas holiday. I mean, your team's going to have something like 19 days off. How are you going to keep busy in that time?
Yeah, we'll still have practices during finals, and then following the dead period, we'll have some practices before our game on the 30th. Our staff will obviously focus on our future opponents. We'll probably review each and every game, just trying to see what we can remove from the offense, remove from the defense, or what we can add to it. Maybe certain things we see against future opponents that we may need to add just to tackle some of the schemes that they do offensively and defensively. But it's a great time for us to reflect on what's going well, what's not going well, and make those adjustments and use those adjustments in practice and get ready for the second semester.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for your time. Good luck the rest of the way.
Great. Thanks, John.
For more, be sure to tune to NewHavenChargers.com. Or for a completely student perspective, tune to charliescavalry.wordpress.com. Today's episode will be the final episode of the fall semester. Look forward to more episodes beginning in late January. I'm your host, John Moses.